Oh yeah, that's
general.
fucked up.
They're showing a funeral,
It's
bro.
getting serious. I've been reading articles.
And I mean, it's
No part of it's
millions
good.
of people.
No part of it looks good.
No
we
part
are
of it looks good.
technically live. I'm gonna do a quick mic check.
It says we're live.
Check.
Says we're live.
Check.
It says we're live. That's what my phone
Yeah,
just told me. My phone.
It popped up. So it popped up.
Yeah, it popped up. Like
We're at.
Like-
Is he good? Oh, I got him with the no look. Nick, you an OG. Nick, you've seen at least one of these intros, and you know I always tell the person, "Hey man, tap him over there." And they say, "Nick's such a sweetheart, such a nice guy,
Damn,
team
I
player."
just want to be helpful.
And we got him. We are on Not Safe for Motherfucking Ears. And who do we have here today? We have another Nick. And you know, Nick's are cool as shit. Nick's are good people. Nick's also have pretty amazing beards.
yeah, and they also eat a lot of ass.
Time to time.
Time to time. Not this Nick, another Nick.
All right. I got it.
Nick, we are blessed, honored.
Yes.
What's some more words you can give somebody as far as accolades, like praising them? We are
now you gonna-
thankful. Come on,
Grateful,
grateful,
humbled.
I am all those things to be
Oh,
here.
oh,
We
good.
can cut that right now.
We're good. Listen,
We're good.
So Nick, thank you for coming on.
Yes.
I appreciate you. You have
I do too.
somewhat of an expertise. I'm gonna say almost a life expertise. We could talk
Sure.
about that because
Yes, we have to.
we have
Okay.
what we're talking about, but sometimes
Yeah.
life really mixes its way in, and
Sure.
it really. So we know a whole bunch of people, fighters
Yep.
alike. Ground control. Let's shout them out. All the guys out
Absolutely.
there. Tuck, Jake,
Yup.
Paul. Come on, give me some
Yup.
more. Mace.
Jesse, Sean right there.
Yeah.
Got hook up Coach Mackin and John
Yeah.
Vu. Yeah, man, it's just a great
OGs.
team.
Good team
Great
to
team.
stop. So, I've even know or trained or even interviewed some of those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
And I assume somehow we came across each other maybe from one of those past episodes.
We saw
or-
each other. I knew the show, and then we saw each other actually at one of Tucker and Jesse's like Friday night sparring
Yes,
sessions.
that's right.
Because you showed up to get some Thai work in, and me and Vu were there helping out with sparring.
Yep.
And so we ran into each other there, and you were like, come on the show. I'm like, dude, done. Like, I was excited to be on the show before you asked. I was thinking, like,
Oh,
how am
that's
I
so
going to
cool.
sneak onto this?
No.
How am
We're
I
trying
Wow.
to get people
how
to
am I?
come on.
No,
how am I
that-
gonna
that's
org-
really
how am I
crazy,
gonna
right?
just organically slide in right
Shit,
now?
bro.
But no,
No,
I was
man.
excited.
For all those watching, number one,
Yes.
please subscribe to our channel.
Yes.
Please follow us on all the social media platforms. We're going to close
Yep.
that as well. But we are honored to put anybody on this platform who's putting positivity out there.
Yep.
And number one, being transparent about what they had to go through to reach that enlightenment stage
Yeah,
in
it's
their
a
life,
lot.
right?
Yeah, it's a
So
lot of different.
I run into
sections
him and
you
I'm
gotta-
like, yo, I think I knew about you as well because look, we follow the same
Yeah,
people.
for
So
sure,
I'm like,
for sure.
so having you on and your name is Nick, I said, oh, it's a done deal, bro.
yeah,
It's a
gotta
wrap.
be. It had no choice.
The lights,
It's a wrap.
Yeah,
lights
it was
got
inevitable.
low.
It's a
I
wrap.
felt warm inside. I said, I feel
Felt
safe.
the same way.
I feel safe.
I don't think I would have told
shut
that
up,
story.
Marvin. So Marvin is also a fitness expert, personal
Absolutely.
trainer. So it's gonna be a lot of you guys going back and me asking dumbass layman questions.
No,
if you guys
no,
feel
go
it.
for
Yeah. He's lying, but it's okay.
It's fine.
I got my little muscle shirt on too. I don't know if y'all
Yeah, I
Looking
know.
good,
yeah, no,
man.
we did see that.
This is, you know, when
The
you-
nipples are kind of low, but it's
The
all right.
nipples are low.
Is
And there's
is that
some
a steroid
warts.
bump? Is that a steroid bump?
It's also very ethnically ambiguous.
It is. Yeah, it
You know
is.
what I
It's
mean?
good
It's like
tan.
I don't think I've ever seen that skin tone on anyone before.
I had two white co-workers. I won't shout them out because they're not a part of the program, but they gave me this. And I guess they said, let's be the safest as we can. You know, get like two dark for black
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
two light. It's like, let's just make it Italian.
Just make it Italian?
If I had to put a color on, it'd be cherry chocolate.
Cherry chocolate.
But it's somewhere.
Cherry chocolate?
Yeah, like it looks like good ass ice cream, but I've never seen anyone with skin like that. I don't know.
Homoerotic.
Yes.
Yeesh. So, you put up.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about the start of this wonderful program, this initiative you're trying to push out there.
Sure.
But you had this video that I came across that you sent to me.
Yeah.
When you launched everything that we're gonna talk about.
Sure.
And in there, just to capsulize it really quickly, I almost wanted to cry, and I'm an easy crier. If you know me, I
I'm an
cry
easy
if I'm
crier.
happy.
I'm an
I'm
easy
crying. I'm sad. I just whenever I get real empathetic about stuff. And
Yeah.
in this video, in this talk you were giving to people, you were brutally honest.
Yeah.
About not only your love for what you're doing, what we're gonna expand upon, but just a lot of times you go somewhere and somebody shows you all the glitz and glamour, but they don't give you the dirt, the dark, the moments where they like, you know what?
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to say F it all.
Sure.
And you did all that somehow in the video.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the 30-minute video.
Sure.
So how did you become an ice skater? How did how did you, like, I really want to become an ice skater.
High school was rough.
Give us some insight.
school
Let's
got rough.
start back.
Yeah, we gotta go
Start
back
wherever
to.
you want to start it.
All right.
The Genesis. What you?
We like to. Typically, what we do is we like to go to the Genesis because understanding of where you're coming from
Yeah.
to the present moment
Okay.
to where you're trying to go. So it's almost broken down into.
Sure.
I don't think we necessarily talked about it or ever actually realized it, but that's pretty much what we do.
Sure.
So if you could take us through the insight of, first of all, what got you to the point where fitness and jujitsu and all of that kind of stuff made its way into your life.
All right. So like I think the super fast version is I was an overweight kid. You know what I mean? Like I was a chubbier kid. I wasn't very athletic. I would do stuff. I mean, like I wrestled from a young age and I did that stuff, but it was more like it was just shit to do. You know,
Right.
It wasn't like I don't think it ever occurred to me it was a sport. It was just like what
Right.
we did. You
I
know.
was like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. I was like, all right, I might as well do this. You know. So like 16, 17. Had like my high school girlfriend broke up with me, and I was in this bad spot,
wow.
and it was like, and it was right when it's funny, it was right when Fight Club came out, and that's when I was just like, fuck, I need to get in some kind of shape. And the
Right.
funny thing is, this is, we're
Damn,
kicking
Fight
back,
Club.
we're kicking back right off the
Yeah,
bat.
I
And
look,
I'm
I
showing
ain't
my
mad. That's what
Raven
we want you
socks.
to do.
Good. Yeah.
Lamar, your consensus MVP, buddy. Don't listen to anyone who says
Gang,
otherwise.
gang.
What is
My
it,
bro.
Big trust.
My bro.
Big anyway. And so I like I just wanted to get in shape, but I was so out of shape
Right.
that I wanted to have the body of the dude that Brad Pitt fights at the end of the movie. Not even
Oh.
Brad Pitt. That wasn't like my fucking
Oh,
bar
shit.
was so mediocre.
He was like, just
I was
less
like,
titties.
that guy had like less titties, a little yoked up, and I remember being like, that's like an obtainable look for me. Like I'm
Right.
never gonna get Brad Pitt, but like that's how chubby I was. I was
Right.
like that.
Oh,
I'm like.
shit.
I was like I'm like when I saw the before pictures in the magazines, I'm like that would be a good spot. I'm like if I
Right,
get
right.
there, maintenance.
Yeah.
You know.
Uh-huh.
So
You're like, yeah, level out right there.
so I found fitness when I was like that young. I started boxing when I was 16. It was the first time I ever hit a sport that I was like, I dig this, you know. And then I kind of just fell into it. I got my first job at a gym in Bethesda, Maryland, where I grew up after school. So I'd finish up. I was 17 years old. I was a certified personal trainer. I would go over and see a couple clients a day. Actually, my boss, Mike, when I was 16, he lied about my age so I could take a personal training certification.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
17.
No, at 16,
Well, at
I did that.
16.
Yeah.
You were certified at
17.
I was certified at 16, but at 17, I had a
Oh.
book. Like at 17, I had a client book. But like so, like I would leave. I had chamber singers, 7th period, 2:10 was out. I'd be at the gym at 2:30, and at 3 o'clock, I'd have a client. Like I was doing it.
Woo!
So but that's the thing. It's like I was like, there's something in this that I like. There's something in this I like doing, you know.
Right.
And so when I went to college, it stuck with me. When I graduated college, I was like, man, I want to get involved in something more physical while I'm training clients. So that's where I found my way to jiu-jitsu. And that's where I met like the guys at Ground Control. That was when I started working with John Rollo. When I met Ryan Mackin. Ryan was one of those dudes that like we came up at Ground Control together in a lot of ways. Like Ryan's a black belt at Owings Mills now, but Ryan and I got our purple belts on the same night.
Oh shit.
He was one of the hottest pro fighters in the area. I would hang out with him. That was my claim to fame. It's like I'm just being with
Right.
I'm with the badass.
Yeah.
So, but I just
Hey, that's me too. That's
exactly.
Like,
I'm like,
with all
look
these tough guys.
Look at my friends.
Right.
So yeah, man, it was just like we were training partners and we were friends, and so I just kind of like I fell into that whole scene. And I think because of a lot of the stuff you're talking about, I think because it was people that were very honest, were very candid. You know, martial arts, especially stuff like Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, they're so special because they routinely remind you of your shortcomings and what you need to improve on, and no lies get told. It's a very honest thing, and to share that with someone else as a training partner is also really special. And so I got into that community. It was just like one of those things that like I never really wanted to leave that community ever again.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
And I like the usage of words as a community because a community is a small collective group, or a group of people who are in this one particular area, field, whatever you may call it.
Sure.
And people don't understand that once you tie into the community of the niche that you are,
Yeah.
then then everything else, it just feels that much smoother.
Absolutely.
It doesn't feel it doesn't make you feel out of place. You feel like who you are is who you are, and you can be who the fuck you are
No
around
question.
all this, in this community.
No question.
So definitely I like the usage of words because
Thanks,
that's
man.
exactly what it is. So
When you look at the most important, when you look at the tightest communities in the world, they're all built around something that doesn't have to be an incredible thing, but it's just where
Right.
you feel community.
Right.
Like, dude, Gathering of the Juggalos. The Insane Clown Posse. They're
Right.
fans called Juggalos. They come from all over the world to go to this Juggalo festival, and they're
Right.
like, I'm fascinated by it. I watched documentaries on it,
right.
and they're like, dude, I sit at a desk fucking 360 days a year, and then
Right.
5 days I come down here and I'm around people that understand me,
Right.
and
The
like, and
language,
it's
Right.
easy, but it's easy to
everything.
look at and make fun of, but when you
But-
sit back, you're like, yo, they found community and they are connected to something with other people that they share a similar experience with,
Right.
so they get an honesty that most people don't get.
What's the
That
name of
is.
those groups
That's
of
true.
dudes who like the little horses?
Bronies.
The Bronies. They
Yeah.
might be even bigger.
Dude.
You ever heard of the Bronies?
No.
Explain them. You know what the Bronies
What's the
are?
bronies?
It's a lot of white guys.
I know white
I'm
guys.
gonna-
They like.
I'm gonna
what's
own
name?
that one.
I'm mad at how you turned to look.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm gonna
Oh,
own that.
white
I'm
guy.
gonna,
Little white
I'm gonna
guy.
own that one.
It's a little white guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna
little-
go ahead and own that
The
one.
Magical Ponies. What's the name of the?
Yeah, My Little Ponies.
My Little
It's
Ponies.
dudes that are obsessed with My Little Ponies, and so they
My
go to
Little
these
Ponies,
fucking
bro. Remember My Little
conventions.
Ponies?
Yeah, I remember the little
Hey,
toy
hey.
joints, right?
Yo, he remembered
Gang,
fast.
Gang.
He
Like, they
remembered
deep, too.
quick.
Like if you fuck around and you go like at the Baltimore convention and you trying to fuck with one of them, you might get run up on by like 15, 20 dudes.
There's no might.
Maybe like 50 dudes.
I
They
believe
roll
Like,
it.
deep.
it's a real
Brody's
thing.
I
roll
believe it.
deep.
So 17 years old.
Yeah.
First of all, let's
Please.
touch on that a little bit. 17. What were you doing at 17, Marvin?
Jeez, 17.
Chasing somebody?
No, actually,
some
I was working. I was actually lifeguarding and stuff like that.
Oh, see, I
that
was
was a
just-
rough. Yeah, that was a 17 was a rough
Y'all had
time
y'all
period.
Like together and shit
This
at
is where
17.
Nick-
It's the
Shit,
fuck.
Nick realized he was a fuck
'cause
up.
that-
He's like, what was I doing?
Honestly, around
Dudes
that
were
time
being
period,
industrious.
17. All right, so the vulnerability. We
Get
talked
up,
about
get
it,
up.
and we talked about it. We'll touch bases on that part
Like
again.
it.
Yeah, 17 though, bro. That was a rough time in my childhood right there. That was
Career
rough.
wise.
That lights went out. I was working to put the lights back on. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, shit like that. So,
Well, I was filthy rich.
Yeah.
Fucking poor bastards.
Yeah,
No, but
Out.
17, what's kind of cool about it is that a lot of times during that age, right?
yeah.
You're somewhat trying to figure out everything.
Sure.
Ain't
like,
no
you
somewhat. You are trying to figure out everything.
Yeah. Well, it seems like this guy right here at 16, probably even 15.
Yeah.
Because by the time 16 came, you were already in it. By 17, you were,
Yeah.
like, you feel like you knew what you wanted to do. And it wasn't like, I just want to be, not like it's rappers or like a break dancer, but it's like, no, what you wanted to be,
Yeah.
you were doing it. And it wasn't something you could just be like, tomorrow I'm a photographer. Like the barrier to entry
Yeah.
Mhm.
is a little different
Yeah. Yeah.
to enter that, certifications and all that. And then you're that young and you're
Yeah.
training people.
Right.
Like if I roll up and
Yeah.
you were my trainer at 17, I'm like, kid.
Yeah.
17?
Well, look, I mean, so
cool.
I think part of it was like I've always dealt with a high depression and a high anxiety set, like from a young
Mhm.
age. So I think the first time I ever talked to like a professional, I was probably 9 years old.
Okay.
Having a lot of trouble in school, like not behaving well, not doing well academically. My parents brought me to talk to someone, and that was the first time I did it. And so I think like from a young age, like I've understood like the process of thinking. So I think like where some people look at 17 and they're like, yeah, I want to be a pro football player. I want to be a this. I'm like, I think at some point I was given the gift of like introspection at an early age because I started dealing with a lot of stuff at an early age. And so I think like, I don't think I had a more mature mind, but I think I was like thinking about stuff and crushing goals, which by the way, were not academic. Like I was in no way, shape, or form an academic high achiever.
Right.
But when I found an interest, I was like, let's make my life about this, and then all this shit on the side that's like peripheral, I just won't
Don't worry
just
about
won't
it.
even look at it.
Right.
But yeah, like it did not apply itself in school. But like, yeah, if I found an interest, I would dive into it really hard. And like, I don't know, man,
I think that's important to hear because a lot of times we get so caught up in the structure of like you have to go to school, you have to graduate, go to college, you have to get certain type of degrees in certain type of fields.
Yeah, dude.
But in reality, it's not cookie cutter.
It's not.
And that's
true.
something we're going to talk
Well,
about.
it's also just not true.
Yeah, it's not. It's
You
not.
know?
That's true.
It's not true. There's so many. I was thinking about this the other day. There's so many kids I went to high school with that if you looked at them in high school, you'd be like, that kid's gonna be a fuck up, you know. But he ended up doing something completely industrious, like I know guys that organize music festivals now. I know guys that are record executives now. I know people that are models. Like I know people that do this shit. And in high school, you'd be like, yo, what's this dude's problem?
Right.
You know, like, and a teacher would be like, that guy's. I had a teacher pull me aside when I was a senior because I was going to college, and she was like, I never really saw you as a college guy. I was like, fuck.
Damn.
Like, that's brutal.
Right.
So,
That's
like,
real brutal.
But that's the thing. It's like, I think like I wasn't an academic guy. I needed to lock into something different.
Right.
Once you locked in, then
Yeah.
And once you lock in, it's game over.
Right. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people have to begin with is just the locking in part.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I'm talking about myself.
Please.
Sometimes it's just like you have this, you got this, you got this, you got this, and you have this window where you need to pull. You need to pull one of these things in and literally hone in and focus. And then a lot of times you try to expand it so you can try to fit everything in, and you might overwhelm yourself, and then you zoom, and you still don't have anything in the focus yet. So to really be able to learn how to pull something in, focus on it, and really just take a dive into it until the task or goal is either done, accomplished, or whatever.
Yeah.
Until you move on to the next one. Sure. And I think that with you being able to do that at learning to do that by means of communication, by it started at, you said 9, right?
Yeah.
Started at 9 with talking to somebody about it. So by the time you reach 17, your brain is programmed. I have to hone in on something. Yeah. And once you honed in on it, you took heed to it, and that's an amazing story right there.
With anything, there's always a blessing and a curse, right? Like it's always a double-edged sword, and there's always a negative to every positive, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So like, I think at the time I was like, man, this is fucking lame. I got to go talk to a therapist once a week.
Right.
But at the same time, like there's a level of like EQ, like emotional intelligence that you build up by doing that. EQ. And so I think like. Whereas anxiety and depression up until very recently are still things that I still deal with on a fairly regular basis. Like I at least have a little bit of a skill set. Like if you jumped into the ring right now with like a Vu or someone like that to do tie rounds, like you might be kind of like out of your depth, but you're at least like, all right, I can check a kick like this. I can cover a hook like that. I can roll
survive
under.
a half a round.
You could, and
enough to run.
Well, you can survive because you know enough defense that you're like, I might get fucked up, but I'm gonna avoid the big shit. So like that's probably what it is.
I like that. I might get fucked up, but I can avoid the big
shit. I'm not gonna get knocked out. Like I could get. That's like, I ring announce a lot, and I've been in fights where I'm like, dude, I think I could fight. I don't think that guy would knock me out. I'm like, he beat me for sure. I'm like, but I don't think I get like fucked up.
I can
by
survive.
Him. That's also when you're in your 30s. When I'm like, I don't think you'd fuck me up too bad.
I think about that all the time.
Yeah, I could probably bounce back in a day from that.
So how did you stay locked in? And or if you didn't,
I did.
Which I assume.
Yeah.
How was that 17-year-old thinking you have it all figured out, like a lot of 17-year-olds feel, right?
Yeah.
And then you're realizing, okay, it is not all that I thought it would be. Explain us through that process.
If I'm being honest with myself, I think realistically, like I always thought that I didn't have a lot of time, right? Like I always thought that I didn't have time.
The race against time.
I would look at like people that were my age that were on the surface doing better than me, or people who were like 2 years older than me who were really big in some capacity, whether it's on YouTube or they have a TV show or they've like because I'm 34, like I'm old enough to remember when people got like TV shows to do stuff,
John Bastow.
Exactly. No, exactly. Dude, John Bastow liked an Instagram post of mine a couple years ago. I was ready to fucking be done. I was in California with a buddy of mine. We were at a bar, and I was like, yo, John Bastow liked my shit. I was like, I'm never putting out another fucking piece of content again. And dude, John Bastow's IG has a post that says, I'm not dead. Like literally, like enough people thought that dude from Six Pack Shortcuts died.
No.
Six Pack Shortcuts? You didn't watch enough TV.
Yeah, you've seen him. You just don't remember.
It was like the OG infomercial.
When we put the clip up, I might put a little photo.
You're going to be like, oh, yeah. Thumbnail John Bastow.
I probably know what you're talking about, but I probably
He was like the white Billy Blanks without martial arts. He was like one of those faces you would see him. Hey, it's Billy Blanks here. We're working out.
It's not unfair.
Who the fuck is this black dude teaching me Taibo?
Right.
Well, Bastow was like, hey, in the middle of the night after a Burger King commercial, they'd be like, "You want 6-pack abs?"
His shit was
in 2
tore
weeks.
up.
And you'd be like, "Oh," but he looked really, really good anyway. So
He looked like a Frank Zane body,
I was
like crazy
like,
little
shit,
waist.
okay.
But yeah, but basically, I like my shit, and I lost my mind. Where were we?
That's
we
dope.
were talking about 17,
Yeah,
feeling
so,
like you had this roadmap.
So I
figured out,
think,
and
I think I you know I would always be, like I was never looking at what I was doing. I was always looking at what was the next thing, you know, and in doing that. And there's like there's like an end point to this that isn't great, but like I was always thinking like, okay, how do I make this bigger? How do I make this better? How do I make this more successful? How do I reach more people? You know, I was never looking at the 10 people that were in the room with me. I was looking at the 30 people that weren't. You know, my last big box trainer job was at the Brick Bodies in Lutherville, right?
Okay.
Great club, and like there was a little kind of training area in there. And I would have great classes in there. I'd have 20, 25 people in there. My whole time, I'd be sitting there looking at everyone that wasn't in there with me.
Right.
Like, why the fuck aren't they in here too? You know, like, so I was zeroed in on success, but because I was looking for success to validate me, I was never getting to anywhere that I was happy. Right. So like, I kept waiting for. You know, Gary Gulman, who's one of my favorite comedians, I put this on my Instagram the other day. He did an interview about this stuff lately, and he said, you know, no amount of success will inoculate you from feeling depressed or feeling a certain way, right? And so in that same sense, like, I was looking for the recognition to be the thing that I would wake up and finally feel, like, good about myself, you know? And so, I mean, so I stayed zeroed in. But the thing about staying zeroed in was like I was zeroed in on a pin that kept getting further away from me because I changed it. You know, I changed the metric. I want to be a trainer in the Baltimore Sun. I did that. Great. Next day I was like, fuck, what do I do now? You know, like, okay, I want 1,000 likes on a Facebook page. Okay, then what happened? And nothing ever made me feel like I was doing anything significant because I was zeroed in, but I was zeroed in on what I thought was going to make me feel good about myself, but in the end, I was just continuing to punish myself.
where did that take you?
Fucking, it took me to a real fucking
Like,
bad
how dark?
place, man.
Turn the lights
So
down.
here's all right.
dark?
So halfway through last year, like I'd gone through like a bad business divorce. I tried to start up again. I was running on like just anger and hatred and insecurity, like
all the
it was
human
like
emotions.
just a terrible cocktail of like everything bad that could pop up, right? And so I looked up. I was like 6 months in, on my own, and I was like, I got nothing left. I have nothing left. Like I'm always really big on energy. Like I think people put out energy. Like I think the first time we met, it was one of those things where like two people that put out good energy, they lock on. They're like, I fucking like this dude. He's on a wavelength, you know.
Right.
So like I sit like my father. It's unbelievable.
Guess I'm gonna sit like your dad too.
Get up there. We got you.
Hey, look,
Pops.
my grandfather says just like that when he talking to the whole family.
Let me tell you,
He's locked in.
It kills me. It kills me how
all
much I sit like my father now.
We become.
So like,
We've
so I
become.
just shut it down. I was just like, I'm done with this. So I had a company that was mainly in corporate wellness, doing some personal training too. By any definition, very successful. I basically broke it down into 4 pieces. I handed it away. I walked away from it. I was like, I don't want any of this. I just want to go. You know.
Wow.
Went to work for a buddy of mine, real good friend of mine, has a construction company. And I proceeded to have like a 6-month complete mental breakdown because I never felt good about what I was doing when I was doing it, because I was always insecure about the thing I wasn't doing or the guy that I wasn't being, right? Then I went into a career where now I don't have any street cred. I don't have any name recognition. I don't have a resume. I'm fucking new guy.
Entry level,
right?
all over.
Entry level, everything, you know? And I was working for a construction company, which meant I was like knocking on doors, you know, and having people tell me to go fuck myself on like a regular basis, you know, like, and so now I don't feel good about myself. I
Now
don't
you
feel
got
good about
people
what I'm
Just
doing.
compounded everything you were dealing with.
Yeah,
Everything.
I got people being like, dude, I have a gun and I'm gonna get it, and I'm like, all right, man, like no problems, like I'll go.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Cutting out
Jesus.
kids.
yeah. Knocking on doors isn't great. And guys, if people knock on your door, they don't want to be there either.
Yeah,
Just
listen,
be
I've
nice.
been there.
Just be decent to
nice.
them, man.
It's
Yeah,
hard
please.
too.
I've been
Neither
there
of you
too.
guys want. Neither of you guys want to be in this
Come on,
interaction.
bro.
I
No.
promise. So I hit it hard, and so I didn't deal with it. That was the thing, was I didn't deal with it. I was just like, I'm gonna be a regular dude. I'm just gonna go back and do this. And so I ended up coming home from like a particularly bad day, And I looked at my wife, and I was like, I'm not good. I was like, shit's bad, and I'm like, we need to go somewhere.
What prompted you to say that? Because the fact you said that is also why we're here today talking about how you came out of it. But a lot of people don't even take that step. A lot of people don't come home and they maybe go run themselves off a fucking road.
Okay, so here's what happened.
Yeah, or they go straight to the bar and just have a drink and try to drown it away and never talk to anybody about 100%. It and stuff like that. So walk us through it.
Okay, so here's what happened. So we had a new kid on the team. We did a lot of roofing projects, right? So we had a new kid on the team. He calls me. He's at a house. I forget, like maybe out like towards Sykesville. He's like, man, this roof is really chunky. I don't know if I can get up here. And I'm like, all right, I'll come out to you. I'll do the roof inspection. You talk to the homeowner. Like, we'll be good, you know? So get up on this roof. And it was really high and it was really steep and he didn't know how to walk on it. And so I remember, like, I'm standing there at one point. The roof, by the way, was fine. I'm standing there at one point and I'm like, it was a fucking great roof. I was like, I could throw myself down this roof right now. I'd probably not die, but I would be in the hospital for like 3 months and no one would be mad at me. And that was my thought. And I looked up and I was like, what the fuck was that? I was like, where did that come from? You know? And
that's real.
And it was just like, it was just like, it was, you know, when people talk about invasive or intrusive thoughts, like that's like, no, I just came in there. Right. So I like got down off the roof, I got in my car and I drove right the fuck home. And like, that was it. And like the entire time I was like, damn. Like, that is a legitimate urge that I had. Now, look, I'm married. We'll be married for 10 years this year.
Brother.
Thank you. We've been together a long time. She's amazing. We have 2 kids that are my world. It's like, luckily, like, I've got enough shit here that keeps me anchored. You know what I mean? Like, I know at the end of the day, I'm never going to do anything that dangerous because I have a family and I love them.
Just
you know
the
what I mean?
But
just that it's in there.
Just that one instant.
Right.
Yeah.
Considered it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we've all had those moments.
Well, you know what it's like? It's like going into your basement and finding out there's someone else living in your house. And you're like, what the fuck is this?
What are you doing down here?
You? Like, where did you come from?
Right, exactly.
You know?
And then
how long have you been here?
Right, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Because that's if you say it or if it's been a thought, then that means it was subconsciously somewhere grounded. It's been there. That means it's been waiting to show itself like, hey, bitch, how you doing?
It's true.
I'm here to show you that this is the way to.
Yeah. Well, it's like you know, being drunk just makes you honest. It doesn't give you bad thoughts.
Right.
It just lets you say the shit that you probably don't say a lot. You know.
Removes that frontal lobe filter.
Yeah, exactly. You just go right for it. You know. So that was what that was like the punctuated incident.
Gotcha.
And so I knew where I think I knew that I was probably not going to do anything stupid. I also knew enough. I studied psychology. I have a degree in psychology.
Nice.
That's what I ended up graduating with, right? So I knew enough about what was like. I knew academically enough what was going on. Was like this has to get told to someone now. You know.
Right.
So we went. My wife drove me over to Shepherd Pratt. And like we were there for the night, and luckily they were like, you're not a threat to yourself. You have a therapist in the area who you can get back with and get things going again, and let me go. But it was walking out of there that it occurred to me for the first time that like I'm not doing the right things. Like I need to be doing things differently. I need to be connected to something that I care about. And so the next couple months after that was just putting all that stuff back together.
Right.
But like, 100%. That was a punctuated moment. And I knew something had to change.
So my question is,
Please.
we're gonna have a lot of questions anyway, but you said that pretty much you were admitted overnight, whatever the case is, and they directed. Now during that time period, had you had any conversations with yourself to try to, I guess to try to dial it back, like, all right, so try to walk yourself through the moment or whatever the case may have been, or what kind of experiences were you having during that time period of them checking on you and making sure, so on and so forth.
So that's interesting. So I went in and what we did for the night was we talked to doctors in the program to determine whether or not I needed to admit myself.
Right. Okay.
And so like that was kind of like what happened. And by the way, like if I had admitted myself, it would have been great. There are a lot of programs out there for people that they can get into, and they can do it. And it's good. It's important to know, because I was impressed at how quickly I had like a series of options, you know.
Right.
But yeah, like I'd had conversations with myself, but the problem was that like I wasn't a mentally healthy person at the moment.
Okay,
So I was having a
gotcha.
conversation with someone who wasn't in their right mind.
Who wasn't in the right mind
like,
to have a
think of,
conversation
like,
with.
That's the thing. It's like you can be the most mature
It's like the
dude.
worst echo chamber ever.
And I've described to people like if you don't deal with anxiety, if you don't have anxiety, it's literally like hanging out with your worst friend all the time.
The one who's the bad influence.
The one who's just like, like I make a joke and they're like, hey, they didn't laugh at that joke. They probably thought you're an asshole. And you're like, what? No, they're probably fine. And so like you have that friend where it's like, you look fat in that shirt. And you're like, oh, fuck, man. So it's like having that. So I'm talking to myself, and sick, depressed me is talking back.
Right.
And so I'm like, yeah, man, like I'm doing the right stuff. And when I looked up, I was like, packing 18 lips a day and not sleeping. I was like, this is in no way, shape, or form the best me. So yeah, like that was something that I had to allow other people to show me, was that like I you can have conversations with yourself all day long, but if you're not in your right mind, it doesn't matter. Right.
Now I also want you to explain
Please.
real quick, just on the simple fact of how I'm trying to figure out how to put the question, to be honest with you.
No, just go for it.
But for people to understand that there is a problem, and to acknowledge it, and then be able to share it with somebody, how important is it for them to understand that yes, you are going to have to open up, that you do have a problem, first acknowledge it, and then be able to share it with somebody, because a lot of people, like we talked about, a lot of people are scared to show that side of vulnerability.
I can deal with it myself.
You know what I mean?
I don't want to seem weak to other people.
So
I'll keep it to myself.
Yeah, or they think that they can do it themselves, and they really can't, because they don't, they haven't had the proper help to show them.
Well,
exactly.
So this is funny. So I was talking to my therapist a couple months ago. I've been seeing the same therapist now for like on and off since college, so a while. You know what I mean? We've got a really good relationship, and I really like him a lot. And it's funny. A couple months ago, we were talking about that, and I was saying like, like I had a rougher couple weeks, but I think like what I've been trying to do is really just like kind of isolate myself and lock in and figure out what it is that I really have going on. And I told him, I'm like, sometimes I just revert to that Rocky IV, like I gotta go out to Siberia just by myself, and I gotta just run in the snow. And my doc looks at me and he's like, yeah, but Nick, he's like, Rocky didn't even spar in that training camp. Like he would have gotten his ass kicked in real life.
Right.
And first of all, I was like, fuck, I'm never leaving.
You're not right.
Like, you're my doctor forever. I'm like, that's fantastic.
Especially
who has that kind of Rocky knowledge?
Right.
But like,
hey, did you not?
But it was right. You know what I mean? It was like, like Rocky, you can't prep for a fight yourself. You can't have a fight yourself. You can't even fight the fight yourself. You know what I mean? Like you got to have a corner. You got to have people around you. You got to have sparring partners. You got to have coaches. You got to have dude like in between rounds. Someone's at least got to fucking put a stool under you and give you water.
Because you might think you're doing it the right way.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, you're missing this.
Yeah.
Right.
Do this, do that.
Oh yeah.
If you do this a little bit quicker, or
like,
versus if you're your own cornerman, your own coach, your own training partners,
your own water boy, all that.
With a whole perspective, and you're not ready for it.
Well, I mean, and quite frankly, like who
put
your gloves
too.
on, man? Who put your gloves on for you? Who tapes your hands for you? You can't do this shit yourself. You can't even get ready to do anything yourself. So it's like, I was one of those guys that for a long time was like, I'm smart. I have an academically based understanding of what I'm going through. I should be able to suss this out. And then you just realize that you don't. It doesn't fucking
You're also
matter.
Human.
Yeah, you're a human being,
exactly,
and you're flawed. You know what I mean? Like,
to that.
And so like really like the thing. So the thing that I had to realize, and it's funny, I did a lot of reading for a long time about different 12-step programs. And AA and NA, because I think a lot of our issues in the fitness and wellness industry are more based in addiction than they are lifestyle. Like I think the parallels are very similar. But one thing I had to realize was like I had to realize that me at my best level of thinking is not getting the job done. Right. So like the way that I'm dealing with my problems, the way that I'm dealing with my anxieties, the way that I'm talking to myself right now is fucking winless. So I could continue to do this for myself. I'd be the Cincinnati Bengals sitting at home right now, rocking 17 losses. All right,
Damn.
and be like, yeah, eat it. 17. Lamar, number 1.
Big trust.
Big trust.
So thank you so much for sharing all that, man.
No, absolutely.
So
man.
now you're in this point where you're in the rebuilding stage.
Yeah.
Right? And you're sitting down and you're talking to your cornerman.
Yeah,
your
yeah,
wonderful wife, right?
Yeah, man.
And you're seeing all your sparring partners, your kids, and your family.
Oh, yeah.
And you're saying, okay, I can do this.
Yeah, yeah.
I lost that round, maybe those 2 rounds, but we got 3 more left.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're building up, and you're coming up with how to jump back into this space, right?
Yeah.
How did Sparrow Lifestyle come together?
So Sparrow Lifestyle, all right, so first of all, one of the problems that I had with my company, Archetype Wellness, was that financially it was doing great, and we were in the industry, and we had great clients, and that could have gone on for a long time. But I was getting to a point where I was no longer like in a lot of the day-to-day training stuff. And so that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to just put on a shirt and do sales and do all that stuff. Like,
Yeah, the corporate moves and stuff like
put on
that.
a hoodie and sweatpants and go to the gym and work out with people and train. Like, that's what I wanted to do.
Front line.
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, no, I was like putting on a dress shirt. And I was like, it's not the dress shirt. It was just the mechanism. I was like, this is not what I want to be doing. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to go back into business for myself, I've got to make a business that I like every fucking aspect of. Like, I like every facet of it. There can be nothing on my schedule on a daily basis that I look at and makes me tight. You know, like when you have that one client or that one meeting or that one thing you got to go to, and it just makes you like, fuck, man. Like I just got to get to 3:00. You know, when I'm done at 3:00, I'm done training, you know, Karen, and now I can, you know, move on and do something like that, right? Like I can't do that. And luckily,
we love you, Karen, by the way.
Dude, my Karen comes in at 6 a.m. 3 times a week. She's all beat.
You're like,
I love
first of
Karen.
all, I love that Karen.
That Karen.
It's a different kind of Karen.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, she's yelling me wrong.
Yeah,
No,
random
Karen, I love
Karen.
you. But yeah, it's my default mad name. But so it's like, so I knew I had to do that, and I knew I also had to do something where I could truly be honest and open with people who were going to appreciate what I was being honest and open about. You know, I spent a lot of time trying to be something to a lot of people, and I should have been spending that time being everything to a small group of people. And that was something, again, that a guy I worked for a while back, that was something he put out there, and at the time I didn't really get it, and then I kind of got it later on, and I needed to be doing that a lot more. And so I was like, all right, we're going to create a community of people that are going to come together and work out. Yeah, that part's a given, right? But it's going to be less like a boot camp and more like group workouts, group activities, group seminars, group get-togethers. You know, we're going to, you know, go to Tough Mudders together. We're going to go to grappling competitions together. Like, we're going to do all that stuff. I'm going to take my love of martial arts, of Muay Thai, of jiu-jitsu, of boxing. I'm going to get those people as involved in that shit as humanly possible. I'm going to take guys like Tucker. I'm going to bring them around my people so they can see
inspiration.
Here's a guy who fights, you know what I mean? Like, and that he can connect to these people and see that he's like doing something special. So I was just like, it has to be about community. It has to be honest. And if I do that, I can monetize the rest later.
Right.
You know, like I don't need or want it to make money initially. I need it to be something that's special.
It's foundational.
Because I put something that was sellable and monetizable ahead of something that I would actually give a fuck about when, you know, you have that night where you've only got 2 hours of sleep and you got to be in the car for, you know, 8 hours that day. Like, it's got to be something you care about.
Right.
Because it's never enough money. You know, it's never enough money.
Right.
Like, if you don't like it, look at how many guys just bail on a contract because they hate the city.
Look at how many fucking millionaires who lose $10 million of their $500 million jump out of windows. Like,
it's true.
Yeah. Finding that and even parallels with this in this program we're trying to put on.
Please.
When I sit down and talk to people like you.
Yeah.
This is the reason why. Because if you jump into a space like this where everyone with any kind of smartphone, webcam, the barrier to entry, which I was talking about earlier, is very easy to get into.
It's very low.
Yeah. You have to know what you're doing this for.
Yeah.
And in our case, at least in my case, it's not for the monetary gain because that's not in my foreseeable future.
Nope.
But what it is sitting down and having these honest, transparent, articulate points fed to you.
Yeah.
So then when you leave these spaces,
Yeah.
right? Same with this community you're trying to build.
Yeah.
It's not just I'm gonna get you in shape and caloric defense. It's like
Nope.
no, we're trying to change each other because you're helping change me as I'm helping changing you, and then that's gonna matrix out into the world.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You know.
That's almost as a pay it forward type deal.
You
know
have
what I mean? And because
and you're paying it back into yourself. It's almost like an investment in yourself.
exactly.
Oh yeah.
In
It is.
humanity.
I think it kind of coexists because once you find out who you truly are, and then like this gentleman right here, that we're gonna talk about this video in just one moment because we got to get to this.
We're
fucking
kind of
video.
talking about it. If you,
We're
if
kind
you
of
see
talking
it,
about
we're
it,
touching
right?
on top of it.
But at the same token, it's like the internalization of knowing that, like even with the mental stage, knowing that you have to be healthy first, and you got to get the right team around you, and then once you found out, all right, I'm mentally healthy, all right, now I can internalize this, I can manifest it, I can build it, and then you create something that not only you give a fuck about, but you know that it has a lot of your basic core values, principles, and morals behind it, so it stands a lot stronger. So then that way, when you take it to people and they automatically clinch to it, that they grow themselves and you've grown by yourself, and you've internalized that. So the energy bubble starts to
It's that authenticity, right?
Right.
And we were talking about this outside. There was and we were talking about it beforehand. There
Right.
There was a sketch where Louis C.K. hosted SNL, and he's in a sketch with Leslie Jones. Did you see this?
I heard you guys over talking.
Yeah. And he has like a sassy accent every time he talks to her. So she's like, "Hey," he's like, "What's up, sugar?" And she's like, "Do you really talk?" And he goes, "Yeah. What do you mean? That's how I talk." And like he's all like sassy, and then like Cruel's like 5 years later, she finds out that he doesn't talk like that, and so it's like if it doesn't matter if people find out that it's not authentic, it's all for shit. Like it's all for shit. And so if you're waking up every day and you're putting on a character to make you like me, at some point I'm gonna drop that character. Not only are you no longer gonna like me, but you're not gonna fucking trust me,
right?
Because I've been lying to you this whole time, Whereas if I'm authentically me all the time and I'm doing stuff that aligns with my core values and aligns with who I am,
right,
I never get exposed as being somebody different.
Right.
I don't have to do my grocery shopping at 3 a.m. because I'm nervous and I'm gonna see a client at the grocery store and they're gonna see that I have some junk food in my cart. But there are trainers that do that shit.
Right.
There are trainers that go do their cheat meals in fucking Vienna, Virginia, because they don't want to see clients that they know, because they don't want them to think that they.
Right.
Dude, it's real.
I mean, shit gets real just because a lot of people put on a big front. I've done it myself before in my past, and there's still a lot of flaws and niches and stuff like that.
Let me make a statement, and you agree or disagree. Okay. 75% of personal trainers will not work out with their clients because they don't want to humanize themselves in front of someone that they're training.
Correct.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
100%.
Yeah, like
I thought they didn't want my fat juice to get on them or something.
No, because
it was something else. It was
people
fat juice is very good for your skin.
It's like cocoa butter.
Fat juice is very beneficial.
So
like aloe.
I got to touch bases on the video because the video itself,
Well, let's give them a little more insight about the video.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
I was asking you about Sparrow Lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
And so you were launching this company.
Yeah.
And while launching this company, you had a bunch of people that showed up.
Yep.
And took part in it, and you recorded a video of you pretty much not a pitch. That's not what I'm trying to say.
No.
You explaining to them what you're trying to do.
Sure.
And he was only doing it live because of the people that said that they couldn't be there.
And that was really it. Like
thank God you did.
Right.
I
Thank
appreciate
God.
that,
Because let me tell you, brother. Like I said, I watched that video from start to finish, even with glitches. I'm sitting there waiting for the shit. Like,
yeah, you like this is
And we talked about it. My attention span. I can't sit still for a long period of time.
Sure. Right.
But I was so locked into this video because it had everything that not only do I try to use for myself, but I try to use for my clients and anybody else that I'm trying to help out, inspire, motivate, whatever the case may be. And we talked about it. It's funny because we could look at the same. We could look at the same situation, but his perspective on it was the same thing, but it was just a different way. You know what I mean? And it broke barriers for me where I was like, I was like, that is really dope. So yeah, make sure you go. We're gonna have to make sure that we get a link to this video or something.
Well, I did know like prep for it. Like that was the other thing was like I had like stuff I wanted to go over. Like you said, what I wanted to do was I wanted to get the people. So like when I got back into training, there was a lot of people that I reached out to. Hey, I'm coming back. I'm going to do this. We're going to build slow. It's probably going to have some bumps in the road, but like I'm trying to build something really special.
Right.
Do you want to be a part of it? A lot of people were in. Some people weren't. It's all good.
Right.
Like, it's fine.
Right.
So, like, what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring those people who were like, dude, I'm in, I hear you. And I wanted just to tell them, this is what I'm trying to build. This is the intention I have for it. This is why it's important to me.
Right.
And the other thing, you know, was like, I was one of those trainers that I didn't want my clients to see me eating junk food. I didn't want my clients to see me working out. I didn't want to do that shit because I didn't want to humanize myself.
Right.
You know, like, I wanted to be Nick, the guy that was
Superhuman.
the trainer. Yeah, I wanted to be the trainer. You know,
Right.
like, I'm very real about that. Like, I wanted that to be my character.
Right.
But I was like, dude, that was how I fucked up. That was how I drove myself crazy. And, like, again, it's that addiction mindset, right? It's like my best thinking in the past fucked it all up. So it's like, so I got to do something different. So my thing was like, boom, I'm going to sit down. We're going to open up right now. I'm going to be super real about where I'm coming from. I'm going to be super real about what this is and what this isn't. So quite frankly, if you're hiring me to get you an 8-pack by spring break, now is probably the time to bounce.
Right.
You know, because I'm not interested in doing that shit at all.
Right.
Right.
Lifestyle change.
Yeah, like, I
Give
want
me
to talk to people about
some
lifestyles.
talking points from that. If you can,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because I can almost damn near go through the whole video right now. But
Man,
but
that would be a waste of everyone's time, I promise you. So I think that, you know, I think that first of all, like, your training, whatever it is, has got to come from like a real place of emotional honesty. You know, like, you have to know why it is that being healthy to you is important, you know, and you have to know what aspect of being healthy is important, you know, because, you know, I think there's two things that people make a lot of mistakes with. One is they say they want to lose weight, so they lose weight, and then they say, yeah, but I want to be leaner, and then they get leaner, and they say, yeah, but I want to be faster, right? And so they do that stuff, but again, it's like I said before, they're waiting for the accomplishment to give them the feeling as opposed to having the feeling and getting the accomplishment, right? And so those people will never allow themselves to be happy or truly healthy, right? Because they'll just be chasing something that doesn't exist, right?
Chasing something that doesn't exist, or just chasing something just for the next.
Well,
Or chasing
just to
something
stay
for
busy, to stay busy. You know, it's like a rocking chair. It's something to do while you're sitting still. And I think that the other group of people want to say, my body exists over here, my mind exists in that room, my heart's over there, my spirit's somewhere else, right? And so I think that those are the things that people really mess up when they want a good change. And look, if you're someone who's in great shape and you want to go to a spin class or one of these, like, you know, just badass, go in, burn 800 calories, go do the rest of your day, and you're a happy, healthy, sentient human being that, like, is doing everything great, keep going, man. That's awesome.
It's not broke.
It's not broke, and you found a routine that works for you, and it's probably one of the things that's keeping you in that pocket.
Right.
You know? But if you're one of those people and you're still not happy with what you're doing, you're waiting for the thing to give you the feeling. Right? And that's never going to happen. So, like, you gotta
even with junk food.
Even with
when
junk food.
I'm not chasing it. My coaches, I post something up online. Nick probably sees shit like this fucking fat ass.
No, not at all,
And he's
man.
like,
I'm with it.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm chasing, okay, well, I can't fix this because whatever, right? So I'm going to get my 5 Guys. And then as soon as I eat it, I'm right back in this space where I'm like, oh, that didn't give it to me either. And I'm like limboing between both, like, all right, we're fit this week, we're going to work out, and everybody look at me, and then it's like, that's not working either, and this is this cyclical.
So there's a really funny interview there's a great documentary called I Am Farley about Chris Farley, right? Like, just one of the funniest dudes in history of the world, right?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, man. And so Tom Arnold is one of the guys they interview in the documentary. Apparently he and Chris Farley were very good friends in real life, right? And one of the things he said about Farley that was really interesting was he said, you know, you can stop drinking for a day and be one day sober. You can stop doing drugs for a day and be one day clean, but you can't eat healthy for a day and be one day not fat. You know, like, it's what that is.
Ooh.
But why can't it be that way? But why can't you just be like, today I did it, man. Today I did a good fucking job. I'm happy with myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I'm going to do that same shit again tomorrow. You know, and I'm going to get 7-8 days in a row. And then if I mess up on day 9, I'm just going to get right back to it. But fitness, for some reason, lifestyle change, we don't let ourselves off the hook like that. We make ourselves feel bad about it.
One day you fuck up, fuck it.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm scrapped.
Yep.
You know, but it's like, no, you can go back. You can be one day fit again the next day.
Right.
You just got to give yourself a break.
One day fit.
One day fit, man.
One day fit.
One day
It should be
fit.
like
I'm working on, I think, 3 days right now. I'm on 10 days. I'm on a good streak right now.
I'm trying to get it there. Let's figure it out.
I'm on a good
Hopefully
streak.
So you talked about that. Of course, you also in this video, Marvin. Feel free to, if you have anything, jump in. But you just the emotional honesty. We've kind of already touched in bits and pieces, but you were just so honest and like. All right, so you send me the video, right? Let's keep it funky.
Go for it.
Let's keep it not safe for motherfucking.
Fucking
idiots,
I
right?
like it.
Go ahead.
So,
Let's go.
hey man, I got an album. Listen to the album, right? And
Yeah,
people
yeah.
don't give a fuck. Send me a link. Or hey, I'm doing something. They just send it to you, and it's whatever.
Yeah.
So I see it. It's 25, 30 minute
30
video.
About 30 minutes.
Okay. I'm walking into it. I know you. I've met him. He seems like a nice guy and all that people. Let me give it a chance. But in the back of your mind, right, you're thinking like, is this bullshit? Am I wasting my time? Whatever, right? And as I'm listening to it, it's not the pitch I thought it was going to get. It's not a, hey, I can make you, like we were talking about the John Bay Styles. He's a good guy. Maybe he'll be on with it. But it was like, man, not only is he giving me dropping jewels about fitness and way of like the one day fit thing and how I can change my mindset and get the physical results I want, but also just your pure honesty, transparency about your pitfalls. And I think that when you were saying like as a trainer, right? Like you don't want to work out with your clients because you don't want to seem not like Hercules, right? You want to be like, oh, is that your max? Because you'll never know my max. My max is 10 times. Yeah. You were saying, hey, everybody, check this out. Listen to this. I'm where you were, if not lower.
Yeah.
I was in that darker space, if not darker.
Right.
And we together through this community, what you're trying to create, can pull ourselves out of it.
Sure.
Right.
God damn it, that resonated with me,
Right.
man.
Well, but I mean, look, no one's with a trainer for information. You know, you're not. It's just not a fucking reality. You could go on. I have no doubt that a literate, reasonably intelligent human being could go on bodybuilding.com, T-Nation, CrossFit.com, and couldn't learn enough to not only train themselves,
That's
but
true.
they could probably put together a competent program that would deliver some kind of result.
As well as a meal plan. That's a lot of
all
different.
there.
It's all there.
It's
literally.
all there. There are like a couple. I follow CrossFit a little bit. I really like watching like the games. I have a hard time with the regional shit.
Right.
I've competed in it a couple times. It's super gnarly, and I have a lot of respect for the CrossFit community.
Hell
Another great community, by the way.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, people show up for the CrossFit games and stand outside
numbers.
108 degrees.
I mean,
and
numbers.
get fucking sunburned to shit to watch people work out. Like, so it's a community, right? But no one's coming to a trainer because they have the secret. They're coming to a trainer because there's something about the culture and the product and the way that it's delivered and the matter in which things happen. That's what gets them there.
Right.
And I don't want to sell people this like bill of goods that I'm going to get you the best physical results, because who knows, man? I'll tell you 8 trainers right now that are within 2 miles of where I am that I think are better technical trainers than me. You know?
Right.
Like, but that's not what I'm trying to do. You know, like I'm trying to figure out how can we help people through connection and community. And you know, I think that being a good coach in any capacity, there's 2 steps to it, right? One is you've got to set the standard that you want your clients to operate at. You know, this is the standard by which you will conduct yourself.
Baseline.
Yeah. But then you have to be willing to go down to that standard, not down, that seems like above, but you have to be willing also to meet them where they are, where they've made an effort to meet you where you are.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like it's like, so yeah, down isn't the right word, but it's like, you can't just say, this is how shit's going to go from here on out. Right. Because like I could give you guys the same program, you'd have different results. At some point, I got to meet you guys where you are. And then I got to figure out how can I, as a coach, communicate why this is important or why this is vital to you and get you here. And that's the thing I think that I do better than most people. So that's what I wanted to communicate, was like, I've been on this road. I've been where you were. I am where you are. You know what I mean? But I have tools that we can all put together.
Exactly.
And we can start climbing out of it. And I've also been a trainer for a long time, and I'm also pretty good at that part of it, right? But that's not what makes me a good coach. What makes me a good coach is that, like a lot of great coaches out there, that I'm going to meet someone where they are as much as they're coming to meet me where I am.
Right. And now my question is like how as you were putting not only the video, I mean, as you were going through the video, but it was a part of your program, and I know you said about breaking down and getting rid of the bad stuff, and then working on pulling the good stuff in because you have to you have to mediate your way through it. Now, how imperative was it for you to try to make sure that people understood that alignment of first you need to work on pushing this out because you can't, because I forgot exactly how you put it, but you can't go completely clean until you get everything completely dirty out. I forgot how you said
I
it.
do
but
remember talking about the dirty. Go ahead and get fucked up now, eat down, whatever. It's like get it in now.
You gotta get gnarly
get
now.
it out.
Yeah. Well, so I think like one of the things that I realized when I was like really not feeling good about stuff was that like I'd let a lot of lifestyle things come in that were not helping me out. You know what I mean? The same way, like if your diet's on point, if your training's on point, if you're doing everything perfectly, and then you look to go to supplementation afterwards, you're gonna see great results, right? Like you start adding in fat burners or sleep aids or stuff like that. Like that stuff only works when everything else is at 100%. Right. So just like that, I was in a bad mental state and I was taking all these things on top of it that were making it worse. Right? Eating shitty, a lot of chemicals, nicotine, caffeine from diet sodas and energy drinks, artificial sweeteners, all this stuff. And so like it's impossible to get anything going when at the same time I'm sabotaging the potential results with all that stuff. Right. So like it's very important. But here's the thing. But there's always shades of gray with that, right? You know what I mean? But there's always shades of gray.
It's always a shade of gray.
Yeah, like you got to figure out like what level you're gonna let some of that stuff in, But like again, if you don't get the bad shit out first, you're not going to have a room or a foundation to put the good stuff on. It's like what I said. It's like nothing exists like in a segregated capacity in your body. It's all in there. It's all together. So it's like if you think that you can crush it in the gym and then smoke a half a pack of cigarettes on the car ride home, you're an asshole. It's just not gonna. It's just not gonna work. It just doesn't go that way. You know what I mean?
Smoke a half a pack of cigarettes.
No, I'm just saying.
I get it.
But you can't. Yeah, you can't separate those things. But if you say, "Hey, I'm gonna work out really hard, but I like smoking cigarettes. I don't care that they're hurting me. I'm my happiest me when I'm smoking cigarettes." Then smoke cigarettes, man. It's all good. But if you're not happy and you want to make changes and you're not willing to put that stuff on the line, that's where it gets foolish.
Right. That is true. That is definitely true.
Yeah, man. Smoke it up if it makes you happy. But if it doesn't make you happy, then don't fucking do it.
Don't do it. Yeah. Exactly. I love that. Now, how important it also, because I know you said about the alignment of not just physical, it's not just mental, spiritual, but it's also emotional. All those things tied together. Now, how important was it for you to make sure that not only viewers but that community understand that you have to operate on all levels in order to push yourself to that next level that you want to get to?
Man, that's a big question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like asking the importance about like it's asking the importance of why is it important to operate at your best self.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That is true.
Which is a hard question, but it's also a very easy one. If I could operate at 100% of my maximal capacity, why would I not? I mean, we're going deep.
Right.
But you see, do you see
see
how that's kind of the question?
Yeah.
Like the question is kind of like, why is it important for all that stuff to be meshed? Because that's your optimal self.
Right.
Because it's your best version of you. And if you have access to the best version of yourself, why would you not want to be the best version of yourself all the fucking time? Like I'm a better husband, I'm a better father, I'm a better friend, I'm a better professional when I am operating at my optimal. But if I'm not doing those things.
And you can't do it unless you have all those elements in sync.
You can't do it.
You can't.
Seems like we personally sometimes sabotage ourselves to have that one thing in the bucket to use. So it's like, you know what? I didn't reach that goal, but I didn't reach this part of the physical part of myself that I wanted to attain because of the emotional baggage I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Or the emotional baggage, I couldn't deal with that because I'm focused on this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there's no free lunch. You have to have all that in
alignment.
alignment.
There's technically speaking no scapegoat.
Yeah.
You can't use any of that stuff as a scapegoat.
No.
And a lot of times,
it affects each other.
It's being afraid of losses, right? I used an example years ago, right? Opening ceremony of the Olympic Games, hundreds, thousands of athletes. Okay, they're all out there. They all have flags on. They've all got all the gear on. They're all repping their country. Maybe 10 of them are going home with medals. You know, the rest of those motherfuckers are going home empty. Okay,
Right.
losers, right? They will by definition have lost. Okay,
Right.
so if your only metric is winning, you're gonna be upset all the time because very few people like get to win. You know,
Right.
so you've got to be okay with the fact that you're going to take some losses. You got to be okay with the fact that you're going to come up short on some goals. You know, most people do, right?
And
Yeah.
that winning is not always going to fulfill that
It's not
need.
gonna.
Yep.
It's
Not
not
what
gonna.
you're looking, because just winning, like
Yeah.
you were saying, you were chasing these accolades, this acknowledgement by this person,
Yeah.
these numbers, and then you
Yeah.
realize when
Yeah.
you attain them,
Yeah.
when you've won,
Yeah.
you don't feel like a winner.
Well, think
Right.
about that. How many of those athletes don't care about the fact they didn't win a medal at the end of the day? You know what I mean? They got to represent their country. They got to play their sport at
Right.
the highest level. They got to do all that stuff, man. They got to go to the Olympics. They're one of a tiny minority of human beings. If you're 0-1 in the UFC, you're 0-1 in the most elite
Yeah, fuck you.
fighting organization
Yeah, right.
on the
Right,
planet.
exactly.
So that's,
That's
the thing.
true.
So that's the thing. They're not bothered by it. You know, they don't care. You think Tom Brady's that upset that they lost yesterday? Probably not, because the guy's got how many Super Bowl rings? You know, like I guarantee you he's bothered by it, but I guarantee you it doesn't define him as a person.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
So that's the thing. It's like you got to get like you can't use you don't need to make excuses for coming up short. You come up short, it's fine.
I
you know?
understand that.
You just got to figure out like how can I if this matters to me to get better at this, what do I have to do to be successful the next time or
Exactly.
change my approach?
Mm-hmm.
But if the only thing that eats you up is that you didn't do something, well, join the fucking club, man.
Right.
What can they expect being a part of this program? If you can give them some like specific details, like okay, so all right, you know what, you got me, Nick.
We're gonna show you how to
I'm ready to
eat.
sign up. What the fuck are we gonna? Are we meeting out front and doing a Rocky montage
No,
training?
no,
and shit? Like, what
absolutely
are we
not.
doing?
It's never that urgent.
How are we going to change our lives together?
Man, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get you working out in an effective capacity, okay? We're going to get you eating in an effective capacity. We're going to start with how should you be eating right now, and then we're going to start dieting from there.
Are you doing this
Right.
by yourself, or are you working with a nutritionist?
I have a like a background.
Or do you
in
have a
nutritional
background? Yeah, okay,
programming?
okay.
I have a good relationship with a great nutrition organization called Nourish. They're here in the Baltimore area. They have, I think, 4 offices now. They're a fantastic group of professionals. So anytime I have a client that I feel like it needs like actual clinical
Dialed in,
nutritional help, I refer them off there immediately because they're the best at doing that. But like this is more, you know, these are what foods have no business being in your diet. These are the foods that should be in your diet. You know, like I did this with a group of people on Friday, and I said like, let's get all the people on the bus, and then let's figure out what seat they're on, like what seat they're in
Right.
next.
Right.
You know, but like we got to get all the bad shit off. We
Right.
got to get all the good shit on. So we're gonna go from there, and then I mean I think the big thing is like it's just gonna be a community of people that are getting better. You know, like we have people that are joining us virtually that are we have like a little private forum that Queen will share in. We have people that are from like different parts of the country. We have people that meet at 5:30 a.m. here a couple days a week. I mean, we run group sessions, and our group sessions are all people that are in the program. But the point is that it's a community of people who are all looking to help each other get better.
Right.
You know, it's not competitive. It's not that. Now look, like
Maybe a little competitive helps.
well, yeah, like, I mean, like the
From
workouts are
martial arts,
fun.
we
You know what I
understand,
mean?
like sometimes you're in there,
absolutely.
you're punching that bag, and Nick's going, it's like,
Oh,
I'm
no
turn
question.
Now.
Well,
So you
that,
kinda
yeah,
need
sorry,
that spirit
that
sometimes.
kind of competition for sure.
Right.
You know what I
But
mean?
not
And again,
committing
like I was
body
gonna say,
shaming and shit
our
like that.
workouts are they're aggressive, they're tough, but they're
Right.
geared towards. I want to get people in, out. I want to get them sweaty. I want them to get that big kind of metabolic pop because I think, and
Right.
again, we do a lot of metabolic training, we do a lot of conditioning, we do a lot of circuit training because I think that that's the best just for your overall body chemistry. You know what I mean? Like I've had lifts, like straight lifting sessions where I've walked out and been like, yeah, that was okay. You know?
Yeah.
But
I
I've
know
never walked out with my shirt like drenched in sweat and not been like, whew, like that was dope.
That was
Right.
worth it.
You know,
It
so it's
sucked
like,
going
yeah,
through
like-
it, but it's worth it.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. I mean, I went to Muay Thai on Saturday morning, and I remember like getting in the car and like I wore my sweatshirt for class. I mean, the whole thing was done,
Yeah,
and I
good
was like,
work.
I want people walking out like that. Sometimes,
Right.
sometimes I want them stretching. Sometimes I want them doing mobility work. Sometimes I want them just lifting weights. But like that's the other thing, is that we're not just going to be one thing all the time.
What-
It's like,
yeah.
we're getting people healthy. We're getting to the point where they can start to take real control over what it is that they're doing, and then figure out what their goals are. But like get to be a healthy human being first, and then figure out where you go from there.
You do any kind of powwow sessions?
Absolutely. We have regular meetups. One thing we're starting this year is we're gonna have once a month at least. We're gonna have a Friday evening happy hour workout places. I'd like to move the location, but just have everyone come in, show up, mash out a circuit together. We have events that we're going to be announcing really soon, where there might be an obstacle course race happening here, or we might be taking a field trip down to this gym.
Gotcha.
And taking people as a group, but just getting people into doing stuff together that's active. You know, like my
I want in.
well, you know, I mean, my fantasy's always been like, you know, the same way that people meet up on a Friday night and they go to the bar, they go, you know, at happy hour.
Yeah.
Why can't you and a bunch of people go to the gym and
do the same thing.
bullshit and then have a good time?
You know
and
what's
do all that
funny
stuff?
is
What's up?
because I literally, matter of fact, I had touched bases with one of our previous guests, Coco. She had came on. She does competitions
You
and
had
stuff
Ice
like
T's
that.
wife on the show?
Sure did. And we looked at her butt. No,
Nice answer.
no,
He's a-
different Coco.
No,
She's actually Coco.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
She's
damn.
dark
Okay.
Yeah.
brown skin. She's
Yeah,
actually,
dog. Yeah,
she-
she's literally
she earned
Coco.
the name Coco.
She earned the name.
She's not like some other fucker. Like she's actually Coco. It's Coco. Bro.
But yeah, because after talking with her, because we were supposed to schedule, you know, kind of like a big gym session or whatever
Yeah.
and whatnot, which we're still trying to finish working out, hashing out details and stuff like that. But that is something that I would definitely like to take a part of, because I've always wanted to do what I would like to call like a gym takeover, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Like there's a gym out in Columbia called Chiseled.
Yep.
It's fairly new.
The owner's a buddy. I've met him.
Yeah, so
Awesome spot.
it's absolutely amazing. I'm like, if I could just come here with like a few of my buddies and stuff
Yeah,
like
man.
that, and just get a nice workout in,
Yep.
and just kind of exchange and talk, you know, shoot the shit for the
Absolutely.
most part. But I'm
Absolutely.
like, why don't we have more stuff like that? Why don't we have, you know, like big
too many fat
gatherings?
friends,
You know what I
that's why.
mean?
Yeah.
Don't start,
Too
because
many
I'm gonna hit
fat
you with the
friends.
microphone in a minute. We're gonna stop using that word
gotta get
fat
rid
in a
of
minute.
what did Nick say?
We're gonna
Get
stop.
rid
We're
of
gonna
the
stop
fat?
using that motherfucking word.
Nick said, "Get rid of the fat people in your life." That's what you said, right? You said, "Get rid of the
100%.
fat, negative,
Oh yeah.
disgusting people." In
Just
your
the
life.
negative
I
people.
broke
Sick
down.
people like
I
Nick.
broke down several populations of people you shouldn't converse.
Get these fuckers
turned-
out of your life.
It went
with
from
their
speech to hate group
fat-
real quick.
It went.
That room took a turn. That room,
Hey,
yeah,
Nick's like, hey, so you get out, you
Exactly.
get out, you get out, you guys are
yeah.
good.
We're
You
building
get
a
out.
wall.
Let's
So,
all just
Shit
take
took a
it
rough turn real
Right.
fast. in
No
there.
kidding.
Also, with the powwow thing,
Yeah.
we're sitting down, we're talking, right? And I
Yeah.
feel like I'm being healed
Yeah.
by all this, right? All this is being
Oh
honest.
wow.
Do you have any moments where you guys are actually just come together and we're just gonna sit and talk where you
Fuck
are?
yeah.
Hey man, what problems are you having this week? Be honest with me.
Yeah.
You having problems here? You too? Okay, let's fix it. Not even working on, let's just talking.
Yeah, but like,
Is that a
you
part
know,
of it?
how many times have you gone to a boot camp or a jiu-jitsu session or a Muay Thai session or just like gone to the climbing gym or something like that? You know what I mean? When has it not turned into that at the end?
It's always,
It always turns into that
listen,
at
all
the
my
end.
martial arts lessons, we
Damn
talking
straight.
shit
Man,
about life.
I was so I used to have a corporate client out in Lanham, right? And they built a brand new 24-hour fitness out there, a beautiful facility, right? And like anytime I was in there, you'd always have that group of 5 or 6 dudes that had just finished playing ball or were in the locker room or were sitting by the pool or were just finished lifting, and they were all doing that stuff. So here's the thing. Yes is the answer to your question, but it's organic.
Right, it
You know,
happens,
if you
anyway.
when you sweat with people, when you exert yourself with people, when you do something like that together, it takes those walls down and you can share and you can be open because you have that bond with people. You know what I
Right.
mean? There are few guys that haven't, you know, a lot of my best friends have punched me in the face.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like that stuff, yeah.
I think
Right.
all of my
Yeah, all my friends have punched me in the face, but some of my best friends were actually fighters. But no, if you come together in that capacity, it will always turn into that.
Right.
And you can't. And I'd go as far to say as I think you can't create it without that. You have to give someone that thing.
Right, and because of how organic, like you said, it is, because it's like you become together like a band of brothers and sisters, because y'all just almost like as if you were at a war, like you were on a battlefield. Y'all just kind of went to war together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you kind of feel that way.
Yeah.
And that's like you said, it helps break down those walls and barriers. And then not to mention having that kind of core group, or even just that group. It doesn't even have. I'm not even gonna have to call it a core group, because it could be a different group of people the next time. But just having those kind of people around you and knowing that you're dealing with stuff. Those are the brick walls right before you get to the goal, line. Like I was talking to you and Mo earlier today. There's always, I can almost guarantee that there is something that is going to try to throw you completely off your game right before you get to that point.
100%.
And you have to have, and not only do you have to have the right mindset, and all the all the things that make you operate at a high level, but if you have that community and that group of people around you, it makes it a lot easier to either chip away at that wall or completely knock it the fuck down. So
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I commend you definitely, and I want ends. I definitely want ends.
You know, my goal,
Sparrow Lifestyle.
my overarching goal. So I got my little sparrow on my hand.
Yeah, he's serious.
Yeah,
So
real life.
Like here,
Like he said, this is how real I am.
I was ready to go.
Ready to go.
I saw it last week that Shawn Mendes has the same tattoo, and I'm so bummed because I was like,
Oh,
damn, now I look like the biggest Shawn Mendes
Mendes
fan.
fan.
And I like Shawn Mendes; he's great. I'm just not like his biggest fan. I want someone like this was my fantasy, like highest level. It hasn't even come out of my mouth, right? I want someone to be at the grocery store or the mall or somewhere like that wearing one of our Sparrow t-shirts, right? Like wearing a Sparrow t-shirt or a Sparrow sweatshirt. Like, we make them just as a lot of times, like if we do a special seminar, we make a shirt to go with it. You know what I mean? Just something that people can take. I would like two people who don't know each other to see each other wearing a Sparrow shirt and just give each other like a bump
head
or
nod.
a dap or something.
Yep.
Just like that thing where
it.
it's like you're a connected person.
Yep.
You're a person who's into the important shit, who's into the honest shit.
Right. That would be so
Paying the
fucking
Nick, he's
dope.
like,
I'm
that's
like,
like-
I'm
drops a
thinking
tear,
about,
like-
I'm
But that's
thinking,
the thing,
I'm
man.
thinking about it in my head because I'm thinking about what the Sparrow lifestyle represents, and it represents a person as a whole and understanding
Yeah.
everything in sync, whatever the case is. And
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
looking at it, and you're looking at them, and they're looking at you, and they like, I know
Culture,
what
you
you're
know
going
what it
through.
is.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
on the same page.
Wrestlers look at each other, they see another dude with gnarled up ears, and they're like, yup,
Yep.
like that's my guy. Like I don't have to
I know.
worry about it, you know? But that's why I chose the name Sparrows. Like sparrows are, really weak in person, right? So they fly on these huge migrations where they form
Right.
these huge mobs, and inside of that group there is protection, right? So it's just like just having that thing of like together we're flawed, we're flimsy, we're not that capable of doing a lot of stuff. Like think about right now how many times the three of us probably would have died in our life without some kind of intervention from another person. Medical intervention, someone grabbing you out of the pool, someone pulling you out of the way, and you didn't see a car
Mentally,
coming,
like,
right? Like it's through
there.
community as human beings that we have survived. We have no weapons,
Right.
We have no fucking weapons as people.
Right.
We have shitty teeth. We have weak hands,
Right.
right? So we can't just go out like a tiger and defend ourselves.
Nope.
Everything we've done is through community, So like, if we can create a community of people that are into it, that are into each other, that know, like, man, I'm about, someone being mentally healthy, physically healthy, emotionally healthy, eating the right stuff, doing the right stuff, being introspective,
Right.
so that, if you see that person, you nod your head and you're like, yeah, man, like we have a connection, and it can be unsaid.
Yep. Now, real quick,
Please.
this might be even off topic, whatever
No,
the
go
case is.
for it.
But I know about the motivation factor, right?
Yeah.
And I know you said you don't like to call yourself a motivation, which is fine. I
Sure.
get it. But he's very motivational. Fuck him.
Appreciate that.
But I know that in the video, it was something that also touched bases with me. Was the internal motivation, because we can have an external motivation and an internal motivation.
Yeah.
And I kind of want you to explain that part in a
Sure.
small percentage of
Sure.
what an internal motivation might be and how it might be able to help you out,
Yeah.
and then tell us about the external part.
That's interesting, right? And that's actually an example. I've used a similar example before when people have asked similar questions, which is that I think motivational speaker is a dumb title because I think it describes something that is not possible, right? I think anything that you receive is inspiration, right?
Yep.
You see a story about that dude with no arms or legs who climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. That's inspiring, okay? It is not motivating, all right? Because no part of his experience resonates with me.
Right.
I'm not a quadriplegic. I haven't overcome the things that he's overcome. I don't see it. So whereas for me, I'm looking and thinking, oh my God, that's really cool. For him, it's the biggest
That's his
achievement in the
life.
world, right? So that can't be motivating to me. I need to motivate myself. I can use inspiration to connect me to what is motivating about myself, but you can't put motivation into someone. you know?
Right.
So like if your motivation is to get better for your family, that's fantastic. And you see a video about a guy with no arms or legs who climbs Mount Kilimanjaro, now you're inspired. You resonate that. It resonates because you are motivated, and then you put it into action, right?
So inspiration plus motivation equals.
That's where you're driven.
Equals motherfucking.
That's
I was
what-
going to say.
yeah.
I was going to say.
That's
you
where you're
you
like-
could either say results. I mean, you could say
No question.
desire.
Yep.
Because when you get that burning sensation of a desire that you really want to get there,
Yep.
then you've molded that inspiration and the motivation to kind of push you towards that desire.
Yep.
So,
Look at how many people who are at the top of whatever their field is are there because they just were connected to their reason why it was important to them. You know, like they know why it's important to them, and it's no mystery. You know, guys like The Rock, guys like Kevin Hart, dudes who are on top of the world, the biggest fucking movie stars on the planet.
Right.
You know what I mean? And those guys work harder than any other human being because they know why they're doing it. You know, they inspire each other.
Yep.
But their motivation is constant because it's connected to them. You know, so like I've rejected the term motivational speaker because I think it's not possible. I don't think you can motivate people.
Well,
Motivation's yourself.
You're definitely an inspirational speaker.
Definitely,
I
definitely that.
I appreciate that.
Got
Hey,
him.
look,
You
and
inspired
if-
me.
And if something about my road or my thought process or anything like that, if that resonates with someone so that they can look up and they can do something, then that's
Did your
great,
job.
man.
Right.
And that's great,
That's
you know. And,
absolutely
and
amazing.
it's not even like done my job. I've connected to what's important to me, you know. And my kids never have to worry about, you know, what does dad do for a living,
Right.
You know, what's dad about. They know what dad's about, you know. It's like they get to come up, they'll figure out what's important to them, and then we'll figure out how we get them to dive into it.
Gotcha.
Man, you are the most inspirational ice skater I've ever met in my life.
Ice skating,
Sorry, I
look, it's
brought it
really a
back.
part of me.
Sorry, I brought
You
it
brought
back.
it back.
Ice skating.
Brought it back.
How the hell do you do it?
You know,
To be in
it's
such a code.
it's
Yeah.
what makes me feel special.
I feel it.
I probably
feel
got
it.
2 more questions, but go ahead after you.
Well, we're kind of
Out of
over our
time.
time.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
know.
This is what we're gonna do.
Oh,
There's certain
shit.
people that listen. Actually, anyone who's been on the show, if you give us any time out of your day, we appreciate you. when you're
Yes.
back on.
Absolutely,
Thank
my
you.
But there's
pleasure.
certain people that I definitely want to be back on a regular
Done.
basis. So we don't have to stop here. We can have you on with other guests.
Done.
We feel like, you know, or just we can come on here and talk shit. Maybe we might do some fighting games or something.
Love it, dude.
And we can talk about
Anytime.
not just the physical aspect, but the mental aspect and everything. Or we
Anytime.
can just talk shit. It doesn't have
We'll
to
get
be on
we're gonna get a Sparrow up here. I'm gonna
Please
get back here
do.
for
Oh
sure.
yeah, go ahead.
Please
For
do.
sure, for sure.
We
No,
need
this
it.
is great.
Before
That would add some
Marvin-
nature to it.
Yeah.
Before Marvin signs us out,
Yeah.
like he always does,
You.
where can they find you if they want to get more details about
Nick Ehrlich Fitness on IG. We just relaunched the YouTube page, which is Fitness with Nick. And then just my email, man. My email's fitnesswithnick@gmail.com. Questions, comments, concerns, hit me up. I'll be honest, our social media game isn't as strong as it should be because I'm like not putting the cart in front of the horse on this one. Like I'll build it and then we'll build the other stuff in around it. So we're still evolving with how we're going to be putting out content. But the YouTube page is going to be big for us. The IGs where people connect with me. And then if you're in the Baltimore area and you're trying to work out, man, just hit us up. We'd be fucking glad to have you.
Ground Control too? They can catch you down there
Oh,
sometimes.
hell yeah.
Maybe
Ground
one or
Control
two,
always knows big time. I'm there
Shout them out. yeah.
most afternoons, evenings now. And then obviously like when fight camp starts up again, we'll be getting busier, getting guys in shape.
Dope.
Yeah,
Dope,
man.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you
being
guys,
on.
man. I really appreciate
I'm
any
definitely
time.
gonna
Love to
watch
come
I
that.
back.
didn't even realize what
Marvin
time it
signed
was.
us out, man. Listen, we were flowing.
Jesus.
We were flowing.
I
was
looked
like,
over at the
fuck,
time, I
don't
said,
know when to
damn, I
stop.
said,
I'm
that
like,
That
I
was
didn't know
fun.
when to
I was
stop.
like, let's just hang in.
Yeah, no kidding. Once again, shout out to the host, Nick. Instagram at Nick So Loud. He's typically loud anyway, so I ain't got time for him. And then make sure you definitely catch up with our guests. Make sure
Please.
you can go to our IG page. Make sure you follow him. Make sure you hit the notification and find out when this dude is putting up his content and everything like that. Make
Must
sure
follow.
you get any questions to him if you want to connect with him. You can also connect with myself or Nick, and we can get in contact with him, whatever the case may be. Make sure you follow us on IG, Not Safe for Ears. Make sure if you got any questions as far as email is concerned, notsafeforears@gmail.com. Definitely, please. We don't charge anything. We don't charge a motherfucking thing. We don't charge him to be here. We don't nothing. So all we ask is that you hit the motherfucking subscribe button. Then you hit the little bell at the top and it tells you when we going live.
Boom.
And then hopefully we got some more announcements and stuff like that coming up soon. Make sure you follow me, co-host MG2_fit, and we out, bitch.